See, our folks are being led down a pathway to Satanism.
Because you were talking about I-Ism.
And if you actually, not that I encourage it, but if you go to the actual Satanic Church website and you read through their pages, man, I tell you, they got everybody looped into Satanism, and a lot of people are Satanists and don't even know they're Satanists. But at the end of that road, they will tell you that the best objective you can get to is to go beyond being a Satanist and beyond being an atheist to becoming an I-Theist. In other words, throw out every other external notion of God, quote, quote, and become your own God. Worship yourself. Go inside yourself. So most of us are I-Theists, and our community, the African American community, is leading people down that road to I-Theism, which is basically Satanism repackaged.
2.0.
So what it becomes is Satan is already one, because he doesn't need for you to worship Satan.
Come on.
Satan doesn't need you to worship Satan. All Satan needs is for you to not worship Yahuwah.
To be distracted. Come on, like you said earlier.
All he needs is for you to not worship the Most High.
Yes.
You don't have to worship him. He just needs you to not keep your eyes on the Most High.
Yes.
So what he does is he says, oh, well, the definition of religion is it's bondage. All religion is bondage. All worship of an external God is bondage, and it's just designed to keep you down from opening your third eye and knowing who you really are as a person, and getting that Christ consciousness for yourself and becoming one with God by looking within yourself. You can't be God by yourself. You cannot control the breath that you just took. You did not will yourself into existence. You cannot will another human being into existence just by thinking about it. You can't even will your own death just by thinking about it.
You said earlier.
Like right now.
I dream a dream, do that. You know.
Like right now.
Yeah.
If I said, you know what, I don't want to exist anymore. Now, sure, I could take a knife to my wrist. Sure, I could put a gun to my head. I could do some physical action, and I could commit suicide. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is just by simply thinking about it. I cannot just sit here and say, you know what, I don't want to exist anymore. And not exist, just purely by thinking about it. It doesn't work that way. I can't control the breath that I'm taking. I can't control the fact that I exist. I did not generate my own existence. I did not create my own existence. So there's no possible way that I can be Yahuwah myself. There's no way I can be the Most High, because I did not create myself.
Wow.
So it's a folly to think that you can go inside of yourself and find God. Because at best, we are created in the image of God.
Right.
And using a reference from the Bible, see, some people don't believe that the Bible is a useful or accurate representation of who he is and worthy of being followed. But that I'll talk about on a different session. But for now, in Genesis, it says, let us make man in our own image. Well, an image would be the equivalent of me going into the mirror and looking at myself in the mirror.
Come on.
Now, the image of me in the mirror only exists because I exist.
Hey, thank you.
An image of something doesn't exist without the object itself existing when you look in the mirror.
My God.
So I do not exist apart from him who created me. My only existence is completely dependent upon the one who created me. I am nothing but a reflection of him. That's the best I can do, is reflect him. See, when I look at myself in the mirror, if I move my left arm, that image in the mirror moves its left arm. If I sneeze at the mirror, the image of me is going to sneeze. So it is completely dependent upon me, my action as the object that is being reflected in the mirror. The image in the mirror cannot exist apart from me. If I walk away from the mirror, then the image of me in that mirror ceases to exist. It is no longer there apart from me being there. So everything it is dependent upon me. But it's not me. It's an image of me, but it's not me. And that's where we get it twisted. We think that because the image is dependent upon the object in the mirror, that the image is the object. It reflects the object. It has many of the attributes of the object. It produces a facsimile of the image of the object, but it is not in and of itself the object. In other words, the image in the mirror cannot step outside of the mirror and decide that it no longer wants to be the reflection in the mirror, step outside of the mirror and stand next to me, the object. It can't do it. In the same way, as much as I may reflect the Most High, as much as I was created by the Most High, and as much as I may contain the attributes of the Most High, I cannot step outside of my own humanity and become the Most High. It's impossible. It cannot work. I cannot exist apart from the one who created me. And at best I can reflect his glory. At best I can be the image of his glory on the earth. At best I can be a good facsimile of him in that I have the attributes of the Most High. But in and of myself, I cannot exist apart from him, nor can I ascend to be like him in that I did not create myself. Just like my image in the mirror didn't create itself, it was purely generated by me, the object. I cannot create myself apart from him. This is one of the biggest deceptions that's going around right now, and it's called monism. Monism is the idea that you are God. That God is you and you are God. It gets expressed in different ways, like we're all a part of the God consciousness, or we're all God because God is in all of us. And it's a very subtle deception, because there's a big difference between saying I was created by God, who is external to me, versus I am a God and I generated my own godhood. I generated my own godness. That's two different things. And it's very dangerous to believe that one can escape the Most High, or that one can ascend to be the Most High. Not be like the Most High, but people really think they can be the Most High. And is that not the original iniquity of Lucifer? That was his initial iniquity. That's what got him kicked out, was he said, I will ascend to the Most High. I will be the Most High. I will be like him. I will be worshipped like him. I will basically show everybody that I am. That was the original iniquity of Lucifer. And when he came down here in the form of the shining one, see in the book of Genesis, they say, oh, it was the serpent in the garden. Well, that word serpent, properly interpreted, actually means shining one. So while we thinking that Adam and Eve were talking snakes, no, they weren't. They were talking to Satan, the shining one.
That's right.
He came to them as an angel of light even then, because that's what the word is the shining one. And his very first deception was, well, did not God say? What did God say? Are you sure that's what he said? I think he's just trying to keep you from being like him. I think he's trying to keep you from this esoteric occult knowledge, because the word occult means hidden. And if you just come to the occult, just come on over here to the occult. See, people think the occult means dark and it means all this. That's not really what it means. Occult, simply defined and accurately defined, purely means hidden. That's all it means, is that it is hidden. So the shining one comes to the original human and the original womb man. He comes to the original human and womb man and says, you know, the Most High is trying to hide some shit from you. Excuse my language, sorry. You know, he come and try to hide some truth from you. And all you got to do is decide for yourself that that tree looks good. Yeah, I know he might have said don't eat it, but that's just because he's trying to keep the occult from you.
What?
He's trying to keep the hidden knowledge from you. He's trying to keep the God that is within you from you. That is the original lie. That is the original deception. Not that they ate the fruit, but that they didn't trust Yahuwah. That was the original deception. It had nothing to do with the fruit. What it had to do with is, well, you decide for yourself what rules you want to follow. You decide for yourself whether or not you want to know for yourself whether he's really trustworthy or not. You decide for yourself whether or not you want to follow what he has to say to you, or whether you want to make up your own mind and make your own path and make your own way.
Come on here.
So he said, look it up for yourself in Genesis. Well, you know, when you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will know good and evil, and you will be like the gods. That was the selling point.
And who was that?
That was the selling point. That all you have to do is go to the occult, meaning hidden knowledge, meaning third eye, meaning pineal gland, meaning self-consciousness, meaning Christ consciousness, meaning God consciousness, meaning Krishna, Buddha, meaning anything and everything other than what did Yahuwah say.
Right.
He doesn't really care which religion you pick as long as you don't pick him.
I know that's the truth.
It doesn't matter. But the sell is, you know, he's just trying to keep some real truth and knowledge from you. You just need to go to the occult. You need to go to what is hidden. You need to go from, if he's trying to hide it from you, then he knows that if you get it, then you're going to be like him. You're going to be God. You will be God. You will know good and evil. See, in the garden, people think that, oh, well, the knowledge of good and evil, you know, he was trying to keep them from having this knowledge. But think about this for a second.
No.
If God is all good, he's all knowing, and he created this perfect garden, this perfect place, they already knew good.
Come on here.
They walked with him personally.
Come on here.
That's like being invited over to Oprah's house for lunch every day.
Come on.
When you got it like that, to where you can sit down and eat a meal with someone very powerful, that means you got a good relationship with that person. They walked with him. It says in Genesis that Adam walked with God in the cool of the day.
Right.
That means they was homies. They chilled out.
That
So
means anything he would have wanted to know,
anything he could
he
have
could
asked
Come
him,
on.
anything, and got an answer because they had it like that. They had the complete knowledge of good. When they ate the tree, the only thing that happened was they became aware of evil. They already knew everything good.
It said
Their eyes were open, and instantly they discovered shame, they discovered guilt, they discovered rebellion, they discovered death. And it's the same way today is we get fooled by this idea of the occult. Well, you just need to be an I-Theist. You just need to worship yourself. You just need to believe in yourself. You just need to follow your heart. Well, the scripture says the heart is wicked and deceitfully evil. Who can know it?
Come on.
You said you're following your heart. You're going to follow your heart right into darkness. When you know Yahuwah, when you know the Messiah, Yahushua, who we say in English as Jesus, but I'm talking about his original name, Yahushua. When you know who the Messiah is, because it says, the Messiah says, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And if you deny the Son, you deny the Father. So they go together, and the Holy Spirit binds all of it together. When you know him, you know everything that's good, because you know the creator of good. But when you decide that you want to be an I-Theist, well, I want to worship myself. I want to connect with the Godness myself. I want to connect to the consciousness of Christ myself, the Christ consciousness. And the Christ consciousness has nothing to do with Yahushua the Messiah. Let's get that clear. It's not the same thing. Not the same thing. But when you do that, when you say, I'm going to the occult to get the hidden knowledge because I think that God is being unfair and he's holding things from me and he just wants to keep me from the truth. He wants to keep me from power and he wants to keep me from being my own God. When you go to the occult looking for that power, what you end up finding is the knowledge of evil.
Come on here.
That's what you find when you get there. You find power, but that power oftentimes comes with sacrifice, comes with death, it comes with shame, it comes with guilt, it comes with a lack of empathy, it comes with a self-centeredness and narcissism and sociopathology and psychopathology. Why? Because now you're worshiping yourself to the exclusion of anyone else. And while you say that, well, as a Satanist, do as thou wilt, and that is the whole of the law. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, you can do whatever you want. But the reality is that when one worships oneself, your bar always changes. So today you may feel like that's a good idea to do X, Y, Z. Tomorrow you may feel like, well, it's not a good idea to do X, Y, Z. So you are the determiner of your own religion, at which point in time, if you decide that murder is expedient for you, there is no one there to have an absolute standard to say that it's not. And so then you justify something evil, and I know I'm taking that way to the extreme, but let me dial it back. Let's not even look at murder because most people can't wrap their head around that. Let's look at it as something as simple as lying or stealing or taking advantage of someone or basically using someone to get to your objective. Because most of us struggle with that. Well, I'm going to get over on this person in order to get to my objective. Well, if I'm my own God, then that's completely acceptable because I can decide in the religion of me that my own end is the whatever means I use to achieve my objective. Since I am my own God, I should deserve and be entitled to do that, even if it means taking advantage of someone else in the process, even if it means destroying someone else in order to get somewhere, even if it means cutting somebody down in order to lift myself up, even if it means sabotaging someone else's success so that I can have success at their expense. See, it's not always the big things that get you. But like it says in Genesis, their eyes were open. And the first thing that happened was they lost their relationship with Yahweh. Second thing that happened is they realized that they were naked and they were ashamed by it. The third thing that happened was they became guilty because they knew now that disobedience to your own creator is the worst possible thing you can do. And fourthly, they experienced death for the first time. So, at the end of the day, I-Theism is very attractive because it allows us to be immature. I can have what I want. I can do what I want. Nobody can tell me what to do. I am my own God. I determine my own fate. And whatever I believe is right, that's what I'm going to follow. And that road leads ultimately to a narcissism and a self-worship that will be confronted with the magnitude of the Creator when it's all said and done. Because you didn't will yourself to be here, you cannot will yourself to stay here, and you cannot will yourself out of existence. Only the Creator can do that. Only the Most High can do that. And so lining yourself up with the Most High makes way more sense than saying that I have control over my own godhood. That's folly. That's all I'm going to say on that for today.
I just wanted to add to that. The first thing that happened to them was they physically touched the fruit. A lot of things that are going on with the I-Theism is physical. You know that? You drunk off your own power, off your own, because inside of you it feels a certain way. whether it's your adrenaline gets to going, whether it's physical. You see? So they took a physical fruit of some sort, and they said that the first thing that happened was their eyes were open. Okay? Now, I could sit here and say, well, their spiritual eyes were open. No offense, they were spiritual beings before they ever became physical beings, if that makes any sense at all. You hear me what I'm saying? They were spiritual. You cannot be spirit and not walk with God in the cool of the day. It's hard for me to believe that he walked with them in the cool. Now the word walk, God didn't even show himself to Moses. He showed his backside to Moses. His backside, meaning physical. And Moses' face glowed so terrible, they had to cover his face up. Did you know that? So now if you walk with God in the cool of the day, how is it that you've got to be on a certain level in order to do that? So the fact of the matter that they were even on that level tells you the great extent that Satan was going to go through to bring them down as far as he possibly could. Because it is as if Satan wanted back the position he had, which was the covering, was walking with the whole nine. That whole relationship was gone, and it was replaced by them. So when it talks about their eyes were open, I don't believe it was a spiritual eyes were open. I believe it was physical. Physically, their eyes were open, where they physically could see each other. Now, they weren't dumb and stupid. Everybody think, oh, they just run around like running through the jungle somewhere and everything else. No, it said she gave it to her husband with her. They were together. They were smart. They were intelligent. They were heightened. God, you can't name the animals and do all these things and not understand the position spiritually. They were smart. They were not dumb. But when Satan came at them talking all this mess about how, oh, you shall not surely die. Oh, they knew something about that word die. Do you think they would have had to?
Right. You can't use a word of which there is no concept.
Thank you.
Like there's some Native American tribes long ago had no word for the concept of ownership.
Come on here.
For example, everything was everybody's. It was collective. They had no word to describe the concept of I own this. Some cultures have no words to explain certain concepts at all. So the fact that the Shining One could tell Adam and Eve, well, you won't surely die, that means they had some sort of linguistic concept of what death meant.
Come on here. That's what I was.
So they had some knowledge of life and death.
Were not stupid.
And perhaps we don't call it good and evil, but they had some concept of life as opposed to death, or else the word couldn't have been used. They wouldn't have understood the concept.
Thank you.
To begin with.
Thank you.
So it wasn't so much that they didn't know about life, death, or perhaps even good and evil, but it was more of, now I understand the effects of good and evil.
That's what I was trying to
understand. The consequence of good and evil. I can understand now regret versus accomplishment, or disappointment versus joy. Or glory. Or now I had
that's what I was
or
getting
now
at.
I had a theoretical concept of death, but now I have an experiential
that's exactly
experience of death.
That's what I was getting at. That whole thing.
That it's not so much about they didn't know good or evil, but it was that they did not have to be exposed to the effects or the consequences of evil.
And that is what was removed. Because God said, who told you were naked? Who told you you were naked? See, everything that Satan did was he was trying to tell them something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Satan was the best pimp on earth.
Sure was.
He got you to give up your whole entire birthright and pay him the money without even getting a cut, simply off of one conversation.
Come on here.
Ain't that what a pimp do? They
Ain't that
get
what
these
you do?
girls, they talk these girls,
Yes.
they get in their head.
Come on here.
One good conversation, they got her out there turning tricks and bringing the money back to daddy.
Sure do.
He the
Sure
best
do.
pimp of all of them.
Sure do.
Hey, look, all you got to do is,
Give your body up physically.
just go on and give it up,
Physically.
and you can bring it back to me, and I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you a cut in exchange. Ain't that how they do it?
I'm
Well, hey,
protecting you. That's what they say. They say they're protecting
I'm protecting you. Sell your soul to me, and I'll give you all this money. I'll give you all this fame. First of all, money ain't even backed by gold right now. And second of all, fame is just as elusive and fickle as the butterfly that's flying in the wind right now. One day here, gone the next. But you chasing after rainbows, signing your name in blood and giving up your loved one, your family member. And that's the same thing he did in the garden, which is, I'm gonna pimp you out real good. Let me sweet talk you real good and get you out here on this spiritual host roll real quick. All you got to do is do one act of disobedience, and then I'm gonna take everything you got and I'm gonna give you a little cut. You gonna get a little bit of a cut. But meanwhile, your walls gonna be all stretched out. You gonna be all messed up. You gonna realize how regretful you are. But it ain't gonna matter at that point because I done got all your money. I done pimped you out. I took all your spiritual place. I took all your spiritual position. I took all your spiritual authority. That's why he's the God of little g of this world right now. Because they allowed themselves to be pimped out. They got tricked out. And he gave us a little cut. He let us walk around here. But he's the God of this world right now.
Who told you you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree I commanded you not to? Have you? If he can get us to think it, he can get us to achieve it. When a person tricks you, they first trick you mentally first before they get you to do it physically.
Always.
It happens within you mentally first. It says she saw the tree and saw first that it was good for food. And that it was pleasant to the eye. James said we are led away by our own desires. Isn't that what he said?
You're back to I-Theism.
There we go.
You're right back to it. We're led astray, led away by our own lusts, our own desires. The desires of the eye, the lust of, and the pride of life is what carries us away. It's I-Theism. I'm worshiping myself.
And it's the revisiting of the I-Theism.
It's what I want. It's what I feel. It's what I think is going to please me. It's what makes me happy.
Every man did what was right in his own eyesight, in his own sight.
I-Theism.
Once again, there goes the word sight. That is the equivalent spiritual to what it was when it says their eyes were open.
The only way you can open a person's eyes whose eyes is already open is to change their perspective. That's really what that means. My eyes can be open looking at you.
Come on here.
But if I don't realize what I'm looking at and I don't have the perspective behind what I'm looking at, I can look right at it and not know what I'm looking at.
Come on here.
If I set $1 million bill in front of a baby, he's going to see that $1 million bill, but he's not going to have any concept of what it means, what value it has, and what he can do with it. He's going to put it in his mouth and chew it and put spit and slobber all over it and try to tease with his gums with it. And that's all he's going to do because he has no perspective or understanding of what it is. And it's the same way. We look God in the eye. We walked with him during the day. He knew us. We knew him. We had a relationship. And we didn't know what we had.
But someone who was Satan said, Oh no. He knows that the day that you eat of it, he knows.
Your perspective will change. Your eyes will open.
Mm-hmm.
You will have understanding of what it is you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will become like the gods.
He basically said he don't give a damn about you. But he knows that in the day that you eat that, then your eyes will be open. You hear me? He's the one that told them your eyes will be open. He told them that. So he got them to doubt the one that loved them the most. He produced a figment of their imagination and character assassinated.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's what he did. He character assassinated Yahweh to their face. And basically said, you need to not let him do this to you. You let him doing this. You let him do this to you. Because he knows in the day that you do this, he's saying that your eyes will be open and you're going to know.
And you will be like Elohim.
You will be like.
You will be like the gods. You will be like Elohim.
Anyways, and what he's basically saying was, you know how powerful he is right now? Well, you'll be like him. You'll be just like that.
I-Theism. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're saying today. Well, if you just open your third eye, if you just access your pineal gland, if you just study this occult knowledge that they've been trying to keep from you all this time, if you go and delve into the dark arts or white witchcraft or New Age Christ consciousness,
Come on here.
if you just tap into God,
Your chakras.
if you just tap into all that, then once you open your third eye, you will be God. You will understand that you are God.
Wow.
Right? Your eyes will be open.
Wow.
You will have new perspective, a new understanding that you are God. That God is you. God is all. All is God. That's how they sell it. That's how they sell it. I cannot make a...
And that somehow you'll be complete, because right now you're incomplete.
Not realizing that you are complete if you know who has created you and you are connected to him through his very own self, through the Messiah. You already have it all because you have him.
Come on.
I understand that I am the reflection of God.
And he said,
I am not
don't
God.
want you to worship the creation.
I want you to worship the Creator. When it
Thou
says,
shalt not have no other gods before me. He didn't say thou shalt not have no other God. Right? Did you hear that? Did you catch that? He actually said both. You're going to have no other God and you're going to have no other gods. You're not going to have none of that before me. You set yourself up as a God. And then you serve all the things that come along with that. So he makes you doubt the one who created you. Never mind, he can't create himself. Okay? Satan can't create nothing except for calamity. One last thing I'll add, because this is so good.
this phone is going to
This
die.
is so.
So.
This is so good. This is so good, Jackie. I'm gonna add this one thing. When he said that you will not surely die, but he knows in the day that you do, in the day. It appeared to me that he'd been plotting this for a long time.
You might not eat it today. You might not eat it tomorrow. But what does Steve Urkel say? I'm wearing you down.
Which goes back to this smoking weed and all these other different things. If you entertain these things long enough, if you keep on entertaining them thoughts, keep on walking over there by that tree, keep on seeing that it look good for food, y'all know what I'm talking about now. You cannot take fire into your bosom and not think that you're going to get burnt. Some of you are searching for things that you should not be searching for because it's already, Yahweh has already placed it in you. You just are at the point where you will just believe a lie rather than the truth. Because you believe it's just too simple to know how much He loves you, to know that you have destiny. You'd rather be led by something, oh, it's a secret.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. Hey, let me show you something. Let me tell you something.
Let me put you on this knowledge
When
that nobody else got.
when God said that everything is open and revealed, what are you talking about? If somebody is talking to you about a secret, they're only talking about opening something up to you that's in the opposite direction of where you should be. And you need to be very careful about when they use that word secret.
Because the Messiah, Yahushua, said, nobody takes a light and puts it under a bushel, but he lets it out so that the world can see. Jesus, Yahushua, said that let your light shine before men so that they will see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. That's Matthew 5:16. Yes. Anything where you got to hide it, be a secret,
you might want to be very careful. You might want to be very careful.
Say that you got to be initiated in order to get to it. That you got to prove your ability to have it.
Come on here.
Those things all come from the Shining One.
Come on here.
They don't come from...
It comes from the darkness.
They don't come from the Creator. The Messiah said, hey, let your light shine.
Let it shine.
He said, I'm going to illuminate everything. I'm not going to keep anything hidden. You can know anything you need to know as long as you stay connected to me.
We got to learn to talk to Him.
And the things that you don't need to know,
I will reveal it. It will be revealed in time.
In its due time. Whether it's when you become resurrected and you receive your incorruptible form, or whether or not He wants to reveal it to you prophetically, or reveal it to you through the Word, or simply lead and guide you by His Holy Spirit.
And you got to learn how to be patient. You got to learn how to be patient and stop wanting everything all at once. This Satan basically told them, not only are you going to get it, but you're going to get it right now. Look, you don't have to wait for it. You don't have to work for it. But when that sentence was passed down, he said, you're going to work by the sweat of your brow. That's what he told Adam. You're going to have to work. You're going to work for it. And it's going to... See, we can't always expect something all the time, all at once. Because none of us can handle that. None of us can handle that. We have got to learn to be patient. And we have got to learn to be loving and kind and wait for what God has in us to be produced in due season.
So don't be an I-Theist.
Don't be an I-Theist. Don't be self-centered and selfish and be a Satanist. That's what it is. And do what he did. There's an Achan in the camp. Or, that's Judas. Well, don't be like Satan and be self-motivated, self-incriminated, and then take down 1/3 of heaven with you. How selfish was that? Maybe he had been thinking what all the rest of the angels had been thinking for quite some time. But in any case, they all got thrown out.
And they're trying to take your place of relationship with Yahuwah, your Creator, ever since. By getting you distracted from the Messiah, getting you distracted with anything and everything else.
Right.
He doesn't need you to worship Him directly. He just needs you to not worship Yahweh.
Or be distracted, like you said, from Him.
Love y'all. Till next time.
Absolutely. Minister Jackie, I appreciate you. I'm Love, signing out.